This lesson is about ratios. Today we're going to talk about how do you solve ratio problems. Ratios is kind of a fun sounding name. It's something we've heard before, but we're just not really sure how they apply in math. Our lesson objective for today is I am learning to compare two numbers and write them as ratios. As always, you'll want to take notes as you work through the lesson so that you can use the notes during your lesson work as you practice. So I would encourage you to take notes as we work through. For getting the idea, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers using division. Ratios are used to show relationships between two quantities and can be written in three different ways. The first way that they can be written is as a fraction, such as A over B. It can be written in words, A to B, so the words that you're going to use there would be the word to, and with a colon, A colon B. You can show ratios. They actually show a different kind of comparison with ratios. There are three different ways that you can make this comparison. The first one's going to be part to part. If we're looking at the white and blue dots here, we can see that if we're comparing the white dots to the blue dots, there's 6 white dots to 4 blue dots. The second kind of comparison would be whole to whole. The ratio of the number of triangles to the number of dots. We do not see any triangles in our picture, so the 0 would represent the number of triangles, and 10 would represent the number of dots. So that would represent a whole-to-whole comparison. Here we would do part to whole. So if I wanted to know the ratio of the white dots, which we already know is 6, to the total number of dots, which if we count those, we see 10, the ratio would be 6 to 10. As with fractions, you can simplify ratios. For example, the ratio of white dots to gray dots in the diagram that we just did, and actually it was blue dots, not gray, can be simplified as 3 to 2, just like we did when we did fractions. You can simplify those to get them in their lowest terms, which means they can't go any further when you're simplifying. And a ratio, though, should not be written as a mixed number, so make sure that you make a note that you do not change a ratio such as 3 to 2, which we would consider that as an improper fraction. Do not change it to a mixed number such as 1 1/2. So make sure that you make note of that so that you don't make that error when you're simplifying your ratios. Your first example is going to be what is the ratio of cats to dogs in a neighborhood that has 9 dogs and 3 cats. Be very careful here that you're comparing the order that the question is asking you for. What happens is they may put the information in there in a different way, such as this problem. So be very careful and take your time to read the question that it's asking. Pause the video and try it on your own. In our explanation here, the first step that you're going to do is identify the number of cats and dogs. There are 3 cats and 9 dogs. The second step would be to write a ratio for cats to dogs. We know that there are 3 cats for every 9 dogs, so you could write it as a fraction. You could use a colon or you could use the word to. Whichever choice you want to make there would be fine because the question didn't specify a certain way. We're going to be able to simplify that by dividing both 3 and 9 by the number 3, and it simplifies to 1 over 3. So the solution for this particular problem is the ratio of cats to dogs in the neighborhood is 1/3, or there is 1 cat for every 3 dogs. All right, let's look at example 2. What is the ratio of girls to boys in a class of 20 students that has 12 boys? You're going to write the ratio using a colon. So this time it specifies to write the ratio as a colon. Now there may be some information that's missing here that you may have to figure out before you can actually write the ratio. So remember that you're writing a ratio to compare the number of girls to boys. I want you to pause the video and try it on your own first. For the example 2 explanation, you're going to find that the number of boys and girls in the class, there are 12 boys in the class. We know there's 20 students in all, so you're going to have to subtract to find out how many girls are in the class. So it would be 20 minus 12 is equal to 8. There are 8 girls in the class. You're going to write the ratio of girls to boys. The ratio of girls to boys is 8 to 12. We know that both of those numbers are even, so they can be simplified. Of course, we're going to look for the greatest common factor between the two numbers, and that's going to be 4. So our ratio actually simplifies to 2 to 3. So you would write that using a colon, and that means that there are 2 girls for every 3 boys in the classroom. Let's take a look at example 3. The table shows the eye colors of students in Mr. Matthews' class. For every student with green eyes, how many students have brown eyes? So you're going to first find the green-eyed students and the brown-eyed students, and you're going to put them in the order that it's asking you to compare them. So it's asking for every student with green eyes, how many students have brown eyes? Pause the video, try it on your own first, and then we'll discuss it. So the first step that you're going to do is find the ratio of students with green eyes to the students with brown eyes. There are 3 students with green eyes, 15 students with brown eyes. The ratio of students with green eyes to brown eyes is 3 to 15. We can simplify that by dividing both by 3, and when we do that, we get 1 and 5. So for every student with green eyes, for every 1 student with green eyes, there are 5 students with brown eyes. In example 4, we're going to be talking about Matt's DVDs. Matt's movie DVD collection contains 8 comedies, 6 dramas, 3 adventures, and 7 science fictions. What is the ratio of comedies and dramas to the total number of DVDs in Matt's collection? Write the ratio using the word to. So your strategy is to write a ratio to compare comedy and dramas to the total number of DVDs. This one's going to take you a little more math action to get to the answer. So you may have to do more than one operation to find the answer. Pause the video, try it on your own first. So in step 1 here, you're going to find the ratio of comedy and drama DVDs to the total number of DVDs. There are 8 comedy and drama DVDs, so we need to add those 2 together to get our number for that combination. And 8 plus 6 equals 14, so there are 14 DVDs with the 2 combined. There are 8 comedy, 6 drama, 3 adventure, and 7 science fiction. So to get all the DVDs together, we're going to have to add all of the numbers. So we would add 6 plus 8 plus 3 plus 7, which equals 24. So there are 24 DVDs altogether. You're going to write a ratio for the comedy and drama to the total number of DVDs. And apparently I'm still on the boys and girls example here. That should be the ratio of comedy and drama to all DVDs is 14 to 24. So you're going to simplify that. We know that both of those numbers are even, and that 2 is a factor for all even numbers, so we're going to divide them both by 2. And when we do that, we get 7 to 2, or 7 to 12. So the ratio of comedy and drama DVDs to the total DVDs is 7 to 12. So for every 7 comedy and drama, there are 12 other DVDs in our collection. Okay, now I've got that slide fixed, so it actually is comparing comedy and drama to the total DVD collection. So what I want you to do is go back and look at your lesson objective again, review that, make sure that you feel confident that you're ready to do some practice work. Take your notes, use those during your lesson work to help you out, and hope everyone enjoyed the lesson. Thank you.